Hello students, welcome back to the online class again. This is the first part of chapter number 2, working of a computer. Now how does a computer work? Let's see in this chapter, the working of a computer. Now working of a computer, how does a computer work? Now here some example is given here. Now here some of the tools and machines are given here, and what does this machine or tool do, that is also given here. You have to match each of the following. Now this is a bread toaster, this is the cake making machine, and this is the pencil cutter, and this is the electric iron. So what does this do? The bread toaster make bread, and this is the cake making machines make cakes here, and we sharpen our pencils using the sharpener here, and we iron our clothes, that is shirts and pants, using this electric iron. Yengo say the exercise and PDC. Koina si chapter se to this chapter number 2 to this kaino working on a computer. Computer se kamina work to we kamina tapak to we have ni. We are koina si chapter say the English. Now this is not bread toaster ni. Bread toaster since the bread the same number. This is not cake sana is not cake making machines. Cake making machines na kada cake same number ni sina. Koina cutter ni pencil it number do pencil machine it number take kanda. Yo koina seda math so bire sina bread and math so bire sina cake ta math so bire sina electric iron haidi koina screen do isna koina polina truck ngo si kanga bisa math so bire. Like this magi matho amam loina mak lai. Like ding maki matho amam loina mak lai. When to the computer kisu kamino work to we, how does a computer work? We are going to see in this chapter. Now let's see here IPO cycle. What is IPO? I has na kaino, P has na kaino, and O has na kaino. Now IPO cycle means input process output cycle. Now what does this input process output cycle have? The kalino have the all machines follow the IPO cycle. Let us take an example of a machine, say a juicer. Okay, machines kudimaksi IPO cycle loinamak ki matung ina loinamak chali. How does this work? Using this IPO, let's see here, taking an example of a juicer. Now what do we put in the juicer? Koina juice same number machine the juicer do da koina kari hapke ba. What does the juicer do to the fruit? Juicer do na fruit to the kari towi kari towarga matungda. What do we finally get from the juicer? Dagi juicer do dagi koi kari fangi hari na koina say yeng dushi. Now when we put the what do we put in the juicer? We put pieces of fruit. For example, orange in it. We put which juice you want to make. Either you want to make a pineapple juice or an orange juice. We put in the juicer here. And after that, what does the juicer do to the fruit? Kari tawi koina hapa juicer se kari happy koina semningi ba juice to gi karamba flavor karamba fruit ki juice semningi. Either it may be orange, or it may be apple, or it may be pineapple. Then what does the juicer do to the fruit? Juicer do na kay dawi give fruit data. It crushes the fruit pieces. Macet on the mana unga ne. Juicer do unga matung na kadawni juice hema kadawni. Then what do we finally get from the juicer? Juicer do quick last. Finally kay fangi koi we get the juice. Kunya pami ba? Orange juice hape sina orange hapa bina sina orange juice pange takhaira matungda. Okay, like this, what do we put? This is the input. In the juicer, what do we put? We put a pieces of orange. That is the input here. Now it is processed in the juicer. Juicer the process di thabak to chathalim. Kaidawi it crushes the fruit pieces. That is the which fruit we put in the juicer do takhai re say that. Takhai matungda what do we finally get from the juicer? The kay phangin nasta we get the juice. Karigi orange hapamina orange juice pangyo. Now as can be seen from this example, machines do not work on their own. Machine se masa matomda thabak tawge akoina monda thabak to pirine juicer du da matomda thamadi juicer du koina electric ta hapchalaga ungadoini fruit to hapchangadoini ungadoini unga matungda akoina juice to pangadoini aduna machine se masa matomda thabak tawjade they need something from us to work on it akoidagi kaiguma ma darkar time. This is called input kaino thabak tawna bidong ta koina sida kai hape sida orange happy je koina darkar tai then machine works on the input koina happy ba input ti matung ina machine work tawre crush taw khai sida crush tawra matungda this is the processing crush taw report bu koina processing hai then finally it gives us what we want koina pami photo this is called output si bune ba koina output hai jina sini koina this is called the output koina phangba phangi base sisina koina output hai ji so input process output means what input what we put on the machine then what is done by the machine it is a process okay then what we get from the machine after processing is the output here. I hope you understand this. Input process output that is input process output angani ko koigi lambi mapan dasu ina chu sungba yeng matamda chu sungba gidi magi machine da mana khutna pairaga ungaga chu do hapchalani hapchali botna input then hapchalaga mana takhairaga magi wheel do leirani aduga hujiki chu dugi juice to lokthorokadene then juice to thabak toiduna aduna process hapchali ba chu duna input then takhaira matungda tara ani taraga khoida glass atroga mana pirani ado khoi leiduni aduduna khoina output ne khoina uthaidena thabak kodi mak loimak chapmane sigi examples da chapmane si bread se seida bread toaster se seida han hapchalani si bread hapchali posna input si bread se chumna hapchangani adu ma process to oni se sahalani sahala matung horen yare ha kana mo kona ma sound ma teng tholaga bread se tek tong kafala ani inkhala ani adu okwane output then si cutter se chapmane cake se chapmane iron se chapmane cutter ne kadori cutter se leida then koine pencil se cutter se hapchalle pencil se hapchali is input ne cutter se da then koine leirani then process to win then koine horen output phangkanda sapun pencil do phangani pencil do machin tumna tholan okay this is how it works the IPO cycle so every machine works on IPO cycle. So in the example of a juicer the fruit is the input fruit to ni huji koini yengi momang de yengi ba example the example we have I've just explained you now I've just explained that now the fruit is the input and the crushing of the fruit by the juicer is the processing takhai bodo fruit to takhai bodo adu duna mana process to ine and the juice we get is the output koina phangi ba juice to bana kai ne ba output ne ba. I hope you have understood till here. Now we know that computer is a machine. Like most machines, it can work on its own. Let us study how it works. Computer is a machine. Duna computer is masama tong thabak tok de. Duna computer is thabak kamaina towi habasi. Yengasi using kada. Do you know? Now Charles Babbage was the first person to give the concept of input process output cycle in the early computing machines. That is why he is known as the father of computers. Now this is very important. Father of computers who is known as the father of computer. Now Charles Babbage is known as the father of computers. Father of computers father of computers Charles Babbage now testing time exercise in the blanks write steps to complete the IPO cycle steps to now here input then it will process and the output we get. Now what do we put in the input here so that it may be processed in the washing machine then what output we get we have to write this okay koine igadabani sana loima ire hana easy yengasi saida now sida p amotpa singje saida hapchali je koina tap kumba baltin gumba amada koina saida container amda phi amotpa singje loina hapchali je hapaga hana putora ni ko now dirty clothes koigi sugado phi singje lom putora saida then these dirty clothes we put in the where in the washing machine to be processed. Washing machine the hapsale process taunaba. Now the dirty clothes here is the input. Now these dirty clothes we put into the washing machine. Then after putting into the washing machine, we turn on the switch. Okay, then this washing machine works on electricity, so we turn on the switch for washing machine. Then it start processing. Now the dirty clothes here, it start processing here, it's washing here, and after that you will dry on the sunlight. Okay, akoina kadoni amotpa phi singsi washing machine da hapsalani, then process taroni seda mopa singdo mopa du sodo oni phajana sura matungda akoina phi je nungsada mu kanghalane adu dryer yawe washing machine da huji kandi ko. You can get dryer in washing machines also. The kanghalani khara kangama khara kangama matungda amuka hena kangnaba akoina sunlight da haidi nungsa manganda phaudo ane. Now here what do we get here? Clean clothes. Now before, what do we input here? Dirty clothes. Amotpa fishing do purani sudo ani loiraga nungsada phaudo kangakanda khoi kai phange clean clothes. Okay, pi asuba motaba anan do phangane usida. Now the next process here is given here. Now we put ice. Okay, we put water. What do we get? The output will be ice cubes here. Now we put here water here in the container here, then that container will put in the freezer, in the fridge. In the refrigerator we put the water, in the container here. The container we put in the freezer of the refrigerator. Then after some time, after turning on the refrigerator, then when we say after some half an hour or some 40 minutes, that water in the container will turn into ice cubes here. Koina freeze da ice hapnaba container dire sida ising hapsalaga kogi refrigerator gi freezer da hadi ice onaba mafam dudaida koina sida hapsalani hapsala matungda pungkhai manatraga some minutes kharagi matungda koini yenga matamda kadawni ice cubes ola maneba. Now I think you got the idea of IPO cycle here using these two examples given as exercises. The exercise in the previous example and you see the already sun fill up the dirty clothes hape washing machine hapsale, then clean clothes photo kana phange, and after that sida water ising hapsale containers sida duga freezer hape refrigerator gi, then after some time tam khara matung da yenga kanda pung khara lera kanda yenga kanda then ice cube ole. Okay, got the idea of this IPO cycle si idea sina gyan taramani na khale anyama. Now let's check the next topic. A computer follows the IPO cycle. Now a computer also follows this IPO cycle like other machines. Mamang ukiba machines indo duga chap manana, this computer also follows the IPO cycle. Now a computer is a machine like all other machines. Now computer is also a machine or like all other machines we have seen. Cake making machines, then pencil sharpener, then electric iron, then bread toaster, then refrigerator, just like all those other machines. A computer is also a machine. Now a computer also follows the input process output cycle. That is the IPO cycle. The input process output cycle say computer follows the way. Now let us look at the example given below. Now let's see here. How does a computer follow the IPO cycle? Now let's look. IPO cycle si computer na kamina process minor follow to ino hadu yang is the call. Now input we give here 3, 5 and then plus. That is we add the number 3 and 5. Now we give the input to the computer using a keyboard and a mouse. Now we input keyboard and mouse are known as input devices. Okay, so using these input devices we input something to the computer. Now using this keyboard and mouse, the input devices, we input some numbers using the keyboard into the computer, then it is processed. Now what it is processed? The process is addition. Now we add the numbers 3 and 5. Now 3 plus 5 is, answer we get as 8. Now let's see here process how it is processed. 3 plus 5. Now 3 and 5 are added here. 3 and 5 pire si je plus ta me si 8 to hai ni ko and 3 plus 5 pire banina si 8 to re se da process to ni thabak to re mana then to matung da the CPU which is like the brain of the computer, not which is like the brain of the computer. CPU is the brain of the computer. CPU is in the brain of the computer hai je ko akoi gi mioi ba de yaw ba brain je sumaina computer da ju CPU sina brain ha ga khange. So in future also some it make a question may come like this also in a quiz, also quiz competition also, which part of the computer is known as the brain of the computer. Computer ki brain ni hainaga computer ki brain ni habisi computer ki karamba part ko khangnai ena hangba yai. That time you should answer as CPU. CPU is known as the brain of the computer. Mana process storage aida kaino processor is 3 ga 5 kasi 8 to it will add here 3 plus 5 in the CPU here. Then after that the output we get that is 8 because 3 plus 5 is when 3 is added to 5 you will get the result as 8. 3 or 5 8 8 the result or the output 8 is shown on the monitor, that is the output device. This is output device. Monitor is the uba phangisi tau khiba port to uba phangise si output device hai monitor. Monitor da uba phangani answer 8 result 8 se. Process to matam seasonariba keyboard ka mouse ka se sibuna kari gawi input device. Process to ibana sina processing device. Sisna output thola iba monitor da uba phangise sibuna output device. Adni akoina kaigumba thabak pibam tanda command am pi khama tanda akoina sida form ama print out loge hairagadi computer da command pi rani computer da command pi raba matungda kadai thule akoina print oi bache du printer da thule chedu aduna printer jisu output device singe. Okay, that input device, output device and the processing device will study in the some higher classes da koi hayeng thang classroom da in class 3 gum da tamakin ko. Now we know that a computer also follows the IPO cycle. That is, we input here the numbers here, the operator also we input here, then after that it is processed using the operator and the operand, that is 3 and 5 are the operand and plus is the operator. 3 ga 5 plus na koi operand hai ga khangai, then plus ina kaino kaidau godoi no hai baje ani je number ani ka do godoi no hai basi tawri posna operator tawriba process sina karino addition. 3 plus 5 is equal to 8 here. Okay. The input given to a computer is in the form of data and instructions. For example, the numbers 3 and 5 are data and plus sign is the instruction to 8. 3 ga 5 kasina data ne pisaliba koina. Pisaliba data ani do kari to godoino haibutuna plus to godoini addition to godoiji plus to godoini haibusina instruction ne se pi da operator je plus sina instruction 3 ga 5 ko operand je sina koina data hai ga khange technical term computer. Okay students, si bok tanoi lemak gyan taramani na khale. I hope till here you have understood clearly, right? Now let's see the next, that is testing time. Can our brain also act like a machine? Well, yes. Koigi brain jisu mioi bagi brain jisu machine sumaina work tobra towi. Let us see if we can also follow the input process output cycle. Data and instructions have been given to you. Use your brain to process and write the output. Kai data pile ako yeng zip. Now let's see here. Input, that is data or data and instructions, and the output here we use our brain here. Koi brain se na gadani when you input device output device hai kibudu. Now we'll study that input device and output device in the next chapter, in next chapter number 3 da. Okay, some starting part of input and output device hai chapter number 3 da yang phangani and details the in higher class test that in class 3 da higher classes lakani ko input and output device and processing device everything class 3 da hayeng lakani huji ki wena di next chapter number 3 da hayeng input device and output device lakani. Now add 7 and 2. 7 के 2 का plus हो क्या था 9. Now 7 and 2 is given here. This is the input. ये output ना कहीं 9 ले रहे. Now 7 ga 2 ga plus to je kai to wi koi brain da 7 plus 2 okay 7 da 2 8 already 7 later then 2 marks already 8 9 9 tare. Now that is working in our brain koi brain da process to wi. Now write the word computer twice. Computer je ani da ui ni je brain da work to ni koi na do sia ani ile. Now what comes after 9 9 gi matung kai la i 10 9 gi matung kai la i hai matam koi brain no work to ra ni then sida koi na output ta 10 ni. How many e are there in the word science? E amalere e ani so 2 here. Now subtract 2 from 7. 2 je khaido minus toro kaya lagi 7 lagi then we get 5. These all we work in our brain na koi work to ri ye. Okay. Now the right way, the parts of the computer are connected to each other using wires. Wires is another computer ki part amaga samjhanai. Now we must be careful with those wires, these wires, because you must get shock also. Okay. Chingbaya koi na pasana yengaga section na pai gadabni. Never snatch the keyboard. Keyboard is chingthok chingjin and the mouse chingthok chingjin tawibani. Wire do tat khagadi, wire do marak manang tat khagadi yawi doineba. From the person using them in a season all the computer parts must be cleaned with a dry and clean cloth. Asengba amasung akangba fi season anga computer je sengedangani kaidongaida computer ji achotpa fi na sengwidabani kaidongaida. The computer works on electricity, so if you clean your computer with a wet cloth you may get shock. Koinoi chingba yai. Okay. Clean clothes na amasung dry cloth na kaina senggadamni ba computer. Now here completes our chapter number 2 here. Now let us recall what we have done in this chapter number 2. Chapter number 2 je kai toy no. Every machine including the computer follows the input process output loin mak tawi. Input is what we give to a machine. Koina pisali ba machine pisali na input process tawi buduna. Now what the machine does to the input in a process. The process data is called the process. Already processed data output. The input is given to a computer in the form of data and instructions. Data and instruction. Data instruction na kay dogo no then data na pina piliba computer the pisali do no pina data do pisali data do kay tapok to no have na instruction level. Now here completes our chapter number 2. Okay, for today let's wind up our class here. In the next video session class we'll do some exercises of this chapter number 2. Then we'll start chapter number 3, that is the input and output devices. Nasagi input and output devices so athangi chapter number 3 da yengasi adu chapter number 3 do kaina start to bring da si chapter number 2 asigi chapter number 2 to je sigi some exercises kara hana yengisi. Then after that we'll continue chapter number 3, input and output devices. Okay students, stay home, stay safe and stay healthy.